Today is all about Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, the 2017 soft reboot of the 1995 classic film with Robin Williams. We reach a surprising and unanimous verdict on this one. We are the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard podcast. We are now on Patreon, and we are grateful to our backers for their support. If you are not a patron already, do not hesitate to go have a look at our page on patreon.com, Good, Bad, Standard podcast. Hey guys, it's been a while.
It's been a wee while, yeah.
Has been, yeah.
I was jet setting in London, actually.
Yeah.
Yann's been all around.
So today is all about Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Starring
Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, Nick Jonas, and Bobby Cannavale.
which we mentioned in last week's episode.
Yes, he was in I, Tonya as well.
He's the press guy.
The name rings a bell, yeah.
Yes.
And Colin Hanks also.
Who is?
At the very last, he's the guy who grew up.
It's Tom Hanks' son.
Yeah, he's played by... he was in That Thing You Do.
He was in a net series of Fargo as well, the TV series.
I've definitely seen him before.
Yeah, he's good.
I didn't know he was Tom Hanks' son.
Yeah.
Ah. I was thinking when he came out, I was like, that looks so much like Tom Hanks. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what I have seen that there were some mixed feelings at the start.
From
Yeah.
me and Anouk.
Yes.
I find it really hard to like suppress my emotions when I'm watching a film, like especially at home. So if I'm like angry or scared or whatever, I kind of exclaim quite a lot. So yeah.
So, all right, we'll give a bit of backstory. So obviously this is the sequel, well, the adaptation, reboot, restart of a film that nobody really asked for, I don't think.
No.
I'll be the odd one out here and say I don't really have any memories of the original Jumanji. I've seen it a couple of times when it's been on TV and my friends all love it, but I didn't come to that one first. I came to the later one, which in 2005 called Zafira, which was directed by Jon Favreau, which is another one of the books that the guy who writes them is. He did that one as well, but it was in space, basically. I saw that when I was a kid. I saw that at the cinema, so I have fonder memories of that because I saw it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a better film, but I remember growing up like, oh yeah, this is like that space movie. When it's the other way around, I should have went, oh, it's Jumanji. Oh, a space movie is like Jumanji.
Yeah.
So I have better memories of Zafira.
Well, you weren't born when Jumanji came out.
Actually, I was 8 days old when it came out in Britain. I was born on the 8th of February. The film came out 16th of February, 96. I was 8 days old.
Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, I was still quite young, but I was 3, 4, and so I don't know. I think when you watch something as a kid, it stays with you and it becomes like something that has connections to your background.
You were too busy watching Nosferatu.
At 4, yeah. I think that was the year I got my scar as well.
Oh, all right.
So I think I was a little bit busy.
I had other things.
Surviving life.
Surviving, yeah.
No, I think now the big Robin Williams movie that was the one I saw growing up was Hook. But Jumanji, so I've seen this one with the Cineworld screening, advanced screening, like I think like 2 weeks before.
Oh yeah, the unlimited screenings.
Yes. And afterwards, I think it was 2 weeks ago, last month, I watched the original, the Robin Williams one, and I don't think I saw it before. And actually, as I just saw it a few weeks ago and not in my childhood, I don't actually remember that much already.
I mean, it hasn't aged well, I don't think.
Yeah, it's quite dated.
This is what I had a thought the other day about, for example, when we talked about 3 Billboards, that I'd come back to it in the future and see how it goes, because I think that's part of films of how they age affects how you feel about them as well.
Yeah, and I think the Never-Ending Story resonated with me much more than Jumanji, because I've always liked that, especially in my childhood, where films or books, like someone goes through like different tests.
No, no, no.
Oh man, like when that horse dies, oh my god, it just kills
Oh, is that
me.
the one? No, is that
Erasure.
Which one's Never Ending Story?
Never-ending story.
Is that the one where they end up in a different world and he's like on a there's like a ship involved at
There's
some point?
Falcor, the pink giant. Is that the dragon?
I'm thinking of like Stardust or something
That
like this.
fluffy thing, yeah.
What am I thinking of? I'll find out what I'm thinking of.
And there's the wee princess.
Oh, it's just so much better. I'm going to watch that today. So I think Neverending Story did a much better job than Jumanji did. But then again, maybe you needed to have been born in like the late 80s to really get it, because I was so young. I was born in 92. So maybe and also Yann, you would have had to see it as a kid rather than
How old you were in 92.
Yeah, so
you'd
see
be
it
20
as
odd.
a kid when you were born like in the 80s, late 80s even, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Let's discuss briefly the disaster or the inaccuracy that is Sony Pictures at the moment.
Oh dear.
So Sony Pictures owns Columbia Pictures. They're like a part of them, right? So I always try to figure out what's a Sony Pictures, like the studio, or is it distributed, or it's just distributed by them. So I found a list from movieinsider.com, which we'll share, so you can go back through basically 245 films that are being either distributed or produced by Sony Pictures. So I'm just going to read you 2017, well, from today's date to the start of last year. Okay, so this year we've had Peter Rabbit, the James Corden voiceover one, which I have not seen.
Doesn't look that good.
It's not for us, is it? It's for kids.
That's true. But you can still have a nice, good film. Like, I would happily watch Dumbo again.
Chicken Run.
Oh, yes, exactly. Adam is obsessed with Chicken Run. You just put the music on and he, like, melts inside.
I haven't seen it once.
Oh my god.
Well,
I can quote that movie from start to finish, pretty much.
I've seen the Never-Ending Story a few times, but not Chicken Run.
Story.
The controversially post-production of All the Money in the World was the Sony Pictures.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
This is we are going to do this one.
Are we going to do All the Money in the
Yes,
World?
yes.
Okay. This film, Jumanji, 2017, The Star, which was I did not know what it was, but it's a Christmas animated film called The Star. Follow the star to the baby Jesus.
Right.
Then we have Roman J. Israel Esquire, which I saw Yann watch the other week, the Denzel Washington.
I haven't seen it, but it's also in the list that we should probably do. Also, I've seen some pretty excruciatingly bad reviews for
Really?
this.
Oh dear. They did Flatliners as well, which I've heard is really bad.
Oh, we're getting there. Only the Brave, which was the film that I saw a poster for and went, wait, what? Because that was the one that was based off a GQ article about the fires.
Yeah, I booked for this one, but in the end, I actually didn't go.
Oh, that's with Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah.
Brolin, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, Taylor Kitsch, which is Yann knows from Conan the John Carter.
Yes.
And I know from Friday Night Lights and season 2 of True Detective. Then we've got Blade Runner 2049, which was apparently really good, but nobody saw it. We have it in the flat. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it in cinema. It's like, it's visually stunning, but I think it's just like the first one that was not. It needs time to become cult.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Demon Hole. I don't know what that is, but I'll quickly. It looks like a horror film of some kind. Follow 6 teens doing forced community service in a remote forest where a fracking crew has unwittingly unleashed a demon.
Okay.
It's that's what that plot is. It looks really weird. Then we've got the Flatliners, which was the reboot of a movie nobody cared about in the beginning.
With the beautiful Nina Dobrev.
Yes.
And it was didn't they make it canonical because they had Kiefer Sutherland in it for some reason? I think we discussed this on an episode.
Yes, it is. It's not a reboot. It's a follow-up because the Sutherland is reprising this old role, but he's now like a teacher and is just like a tiny extra background stuff kind of.
Cameo.
Then the next film was called Fallen. On Luce Prince's first day of sword and cross boarding school, her attention is captured by a strangely familiar Daniel Georgi. She soon discovers he is a fallen angel who has battled over her for, and it goes on, but I don't want to read anymore because it sounds not for me.
So Sony hasn't been doing well then.
We're nearly there. The Dark Tower.
Oh, we didn't see that.
The Stephen King series, right?
Yes, I've seen this one.
I want to read it, but...
There was another Stephen King movie that came out last year. I think everyone forgot about Dark Tower because of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Then we have the wonderful Emoji Movie.
Oh my God, they really haven't done well.
Followed before that was Spider-Man Homecoming with Tom Holland.
It wasn't great either. They put too many writers on that.
Baby Driver.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Resident Evil Vendetta, which I've never seen a Resident Evil film, but me and Yann have just started playing Resident Evil 5 together, and I'm quite enjoying that.
Yeah, I've seen most of that because I think I should not be a filmmaker because I'll be just like Luc Besson. He marries all his lead actresses. So Mila Jovovich was...
What was it? Rule, 99?
55.
55, don't sleep with your scene partner.
Yeah, that was used many times against me and Adam.
Yeah. Rough Night, which was the female... Do you know there was two...
Hangover?
Yeah, the female Hangover, but also there was another movie earlier that year, which I don't remember, which was a black cast, right? And they went to New Orleans. And then there was this, which was just all white girls, you know? There were two films.
Quite odd that they decided to do that.
In the same year.
In the era of social justice warriors, make a all white cast and all black cast. It's quite strange to me.
Awakening the Zodiac, which is a 1.3 rated star on this website.
Is it the kind of a Zodiac Killer kind of a sequel or reboot or a prequel?
This story falls on a down on their luck couple who discover a serial killer's film reels. They decide to take the law into their own hands. Yada yada yada. And then the last two are Smurfs: The Lost Village.
No.
And Life, which was actually the best Alien movie that came out in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Life is essentially like Alien 1.
Okay.
Or Alien. And then Alien Covenant was its own thing.
So, I mean, it's kind of a few gems in the midst of a lot of crap.
Yeah, they have the occasional. I mean, it's kind of the thing if you're a big studio and you produce or distribute so many movies, like your money is made by people going to see films. So you're also going to pick up stuff that you think is going to just perform well, but it turns out it doesn't. I mean, you'd have to go into individual research if they're produced by Sony Pictures or if they're just distributed by Sony Pictures, because that's a different story.
Yeah. Marvel and Disney, they all either just distribute. Yeah.
Well, the thing with Spider-Man is, don't they still own the rights of Spider-Man, and they gave them they leased it for Marvel or something like that?
Yeah, Marvel actually now, I think they can use the character again in their production in Marvel Studios, but it still needs some stuff from Sony. So it was made in collaboration.
Yeah, that's why there's so many writers on it.
Whereas all the now X-Men and all that, now that the Fox deal was made, can appear in any MCU movies now.
That's good. I do know that there's the Venom movie this year with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, it's been finished. It's in the can.
Is it? Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah. It's
so that'll make an appearance at Comic-Con this year before it comes out.
Yes.
Yeah. As you said privately earlier, but I read the exact same thing the day before. Welcome to Jumanji. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is the highest. They just made a ton of money, more than any other.
Yeah, so yesterday it was, I'll find the source so that we can link it. I took a screenshot. It's from Deadline.com. How Jumanji conquered Spider-Man to become Sony's highest grossing film ever at US box office.
Right.
Now, I didn't take a photo of what they've actually made, but that was quite intriguing to see. Because I know that Sony has not had good luck with Spider-Mans. We had the disaster that was the Amazing Spider-Man series that fell apart after its second film,
Yeah, which is sad, because if you think about it, after seeing not actually being there in the theater, but after seeing Andrew Garfield in Angels in America, this guy is really, really good.
Yeah.
And actually he was nominated for an Olivier, but yeah.
I mean, there's the argument that you're only as good as your script, but I've discussed this on like Alien. It's like it has to be every department comes together. That's how you get really good work.
I think that's really insulting to actors as well.
Yeah.
Like, you're only as good as your script. That's absolute bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Actors work their fucking asses off.
This film reminded me another movie where Jack Black was also in that movie, Tropic Thunder.
Oh man, such a good film.
This is yeah.
We'll do Tropic Thunder one day. We'll do a series called Anouk Has Never Seen, right? And it's just we show Anouk films that everyone in the world has seen, but Anouk has never seen.
Yeah,
and we do an episode on it.
I think we should do Anouk Has Seen and show the world the films that they should be watching.
Well, we did that with Nosferatu, and it's quite a successful episode, I think.
Yeah. I need to show Adam all the Hitchcocks.
That's very true. I haven't seen a Hitchcock film, which is embarrassing. But yes, that's true.
Haven't you seen Rope?
No.
Oh, I thought you had. Okay.
I went to an audition for Rope, but I went to the audition without seeing it. And that's probably what screwed me. Because they were like, "Who's your favorite actor? Your favorite character in it?" And I was like, "Oh."
They said something like, "Oh, we're trying to do this," and then referenced the film, and you were like, "Oh, I see what you mean."
Yes, of course.
And then, obviously.
No, that's cool. That's the one with the face long take. The one with a fake long take. Mm-hmm. So there's the one I tried to replicate, which I didn't succeed really during my Fringe of last year documentary, kind of. He used some natural movements, like the camera stumbling on someone's coat or something, to actually do seamless.
I've seen that. I've seen that bit, but I've not seen the whole film.
That's pretty much the only one that actually I've seen from Hitchcock.
Right. So we know
he's genius.
Yeah. So we know that Sony has had a track record of either hitting or missing. Now this one's a hit, and Anouk read a really interesting fact that they just brought out on DVD like straight away.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much. It was still in theaters, and kind of midway they'd already brought out the Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff. So I've always thought that production companies do that or studios do that when they don't really trust that they'll get their money back. Yeah,
but actually I do believe they do that, so they have a release, but it goes out of theaters and then it goes in VOD or right away. Yes, but it's no longer in theaters. The fact that it's been, so it must have been like something like 4 months in theater, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's still on. You can still see it here.
Yeah, and
like it's very outskirts. It's like air and stuff, but it's on.
Because of the media schedule in the US, I think it's 4 months for all. So it's crazy. You just go see a movie in theaters. You just wait like 2, 3, or 4 months, and you get the Black Panther is going out in May.
Really?
Mid-May. Yeah.
Wow. Geez.
Is it still in theaters then?
It is. It is now.
Yes. We could have seen it yesterday at Cineworld.
Okay, so this happens quite a lot then, that a film that's doing very well will still be in theaters when the Blu-ray and DVDs come out.
Yeah. And the bad ones is they remove it from theaters because it costs money to get them in theaters anyway, and they release it even sooner than the 4 month. Yeah.
So they cut it short and then okay, I misunderstood then.
I think that's because it's so costly to put out in cinema.
I mean, Dark Tower, 2 months. It was out in DVD Blu-rays and 2 months later.
Well, it has to. I think that's how the world is right now. I mean, it's just you make more money just distributing it, yourself instead of having to pay cinemas to put it on and stuff like that. Or like all that issue. Which is interesting because I'm currently reading Mark Cousins' book, The Story of Film, and I remember one of the episodes of the TV series of it, which I highly recommend you watch if you listen to our podcast because it's just fantastic. He does a whole episode about the changing media, how the multiplexes are fading out, and it's these whole things,
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see that when Cousins covered it, multiplexes were quite big, especially in the book as well, and now we're having a shift of being everyone's like, it's digital, we live in the world of like Netflix and instant streaming and stuff like that.
Oh, and sometimes they do like instant. They try stuff like Netflix when they released what was it? The latest episode, was it the Cloverfield Paradox?
Yeah, they brought it out the same day they announced it.
Yeah, they had the Super Bowl
yeah.
ad, and at the end was out now on Netflix.
Yeah, it went live as soon as the game finished.
That's interesting.
I recently read that, Netflix still do their postal delivery service. We talked about Love Film. That still exists.
Really?
Yeah, you can still get that for the people that are still subscribed to that still exists.
I think quite a lot of people enjoy that. Like, I think, I don't know if cinema is dying, but I think that a lot of people don't go to the cinema because it is so expensive, and they would just rather have it delivered to their door, like a takeaway, and watch, loads of people still every evening sit on the sofa, chill out after work or whatever, and watch a film. Like every day. Do you know what I mean? That's like a routine that families do together. So I can kind of understand why that's still going on.
Well, the media schedule I was talking about earlier has completely shifted in how it's designed, because except in France where it's still the same, so it's in cinemas, then it takes for 4 to 8 months to actually get into physical supports like Blu-ray, DVDs. Then another few months until it gets into VOD. And VOD has always been last, but at least in France, Netflix was only introduced in France like 3 years ago, because all the deals and all they had to be sure they signed all the contracts with every production companies everywhere. But still in France, Netflix can't have movies that are they must be at least 3 years old. So a movie that was released 3 years ago can now appear on Netflix, but more recent, it's not possible in France. Yeah, that's the.
But in Britain it is. Do you know?
I'm not entirely because then we're talking about streaming. They're all streaming and VOD is different.
There are different licensing stuff.
Yeah, streaming. No, I think streaming must be like 1 year probably. I'm not entirely sure.
We don't know enough about it, basically.
But yeah, VOD now. Sometimes on iTunes it comes before a few days, like 10 days before, as an exclusive to rent or to buy. Like Phantom Thread was released here in the UK. I think it was on the 28th of February, and on the 27th of March it was on iTunes US as a download. Sorry.
Right. So
anyway,
the film.
Welcome to Jumanji.
Yeah.
I mean, I got annoyed immediately.
Yeah, me too. This film made me very angry in the in the beginning, because I felt like it went backwards so much. Like, there were so many stereotypes, and it was so like tacky American style. I don't know. It was just like, aren't we over this?
I've just come up with the idea of we live in a post Baby Driver world.
Right.
Think about Baby Driver's a blockbuster. It's the same style of film that this is, in a sense. Like, it's going to be seen by a lot of people, and there's a lot of advertising into it. And it's an exciting action film.
Yeah, but the target audience was not the same. I mean,
Really? You think video game nerds are not going to like a film about somebody driving a car fast and having, like, relations with, what was her name again? The actress in Baby Driver?
Deborah?
Yeah.
Lily James?
Lily James, yeah. I totally disagree. I think this film is aimed for the bracket of about 16 to about 25. Maybe Jumanji 12. Go back to about 12 years old. 12 to about 20. I think that's your target market.
It's not.
That's not the same.
Really?
Two different ones. You just said two different age brackets.
But then again, I argue that if you're 12, you're going to see Baby Driver. Because everyone is older than they actually are. Realistically, a 12-year-old will enjoy something that a 15-year-old will enjoy, because that's just how it is.
Yeah, but Baby Driver's target audience wouldn't be 12.
No, I'm not saying it is.
No, what I mean is
they're a crossover.
What I would try to mean.
What I'm saying is that this film would absolutely want the audience that Baby Driver had.
Oh yeah,
it wants to get that.
Is it that intelligent?
I don't know.
No. No, of course it's not.
Was it trying to be intelligent, though?
No.
No.
but it was. I mean, the gaming industry is full of stereotypes, so it was pretty accurate in representing this.
Yeah.
I think, and I just think if you expect to go see, so let's say a Edgar Wright movie or a Martin Scorsese movie, that's not what that is. The Jumanji. That's pure entertainment.
Yeah. It was a very popcorny film, and then when you leave the film, you forget it immediately.
But I'm arguing that Baby Driver is equally. It's a popcorn film done well. It's a popcorn film that's more than just a popcorn film. At its base level, you could just sit there mindlessly and watch Baby Driver and get some enjoyment out of it. And if you wanted to get more, there's a lot more to mine underneath that.
Yeah, but I also feel like, okay, I think there's a different type of film. There's one where everyone behind a film really wants it to be good, intelligent, and working to everyone's best ability. And then there are some films that just want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And Jumanji is that film.
Yeah.
You know, like, or maybe not money, just
have fun.
Have fun, yeah.
Like in Bryan Cranston's interview Q&A for a network, he was asked why. So after playing Walter White, he was wondering what his next project could be, like if he would be able to top that, and actually said, no, why don't give? I'm also in that job to have fun and entertain myself. So he did Godzilla just after that, and he also was in Krispy Kreme, the giant Krispy.
Yeah, he was the voice. He was the voice in Power Rangers.
Yeah,
like their mentor sort of voice. Yeah,
he appeared in the first few seconds. Yeah,
I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing to be a film that you're just out to have fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What I am saying though, that there's a level of intelligence that you have to. I think you should treat your audience with. You can't just expect. You just like, oh, we'll just put this on and they'll go with it. You know, you gotta get. What Baby Driver did so well is that it didn't think its audience was stupid. It was an intelligent film that told a story, and there was more to mine. I watched Baby Driver about 5 times by now in the space of 6 months, and I still find new things in it every time. You know, and it's you dive in. For example, the earphone thing, like at the start of the film, you begin to hear ringing, and then at the end of the film, it stops. You know, there are so many like little levels in there for you to go and find out. With a film like this, that's not there.
Okay, so yeah, we've got Baby Driver, which is, so then I would say mindful entertainment, and this, which is mindless entertainment.
Right,
yes.
Okay.
And it's anyone is fine by me, because I really, really enjoyed this film.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hated that I enjoyed this film because I also enjoy, you know, very intelligent cinema.
I mean, you can both enjoy caviar and McDonald's.
Yeah,
There's
of course. Of course. I'm just saying that media is dangerous like that, because it's what I did. Okay. At the beginning, it was a bit like, okay, you don't get to know who these kids are for very long.
No.
Right. So you have no connection to the kids at all. It starts way too quickly. Like, it doesn't allow you to settle into a film, which I think is so important. Like, it had no beginning. It just kind of thrust you into the action. And because you don't have any connection with these kids, when they change, you have no connection to what they have changed into.
Yeah.
And why that is such a big deal. Like, the shy girl has now become the beauty that is Karen Gillan. Like, I don't care about the little girl because I didn't really see that she was shy and dealing with her confidence in a really brutal, like, you know, teenage high school way where so many kids like get bullied or can't go to the party because she's scared and doesn't know how to like match her hat to her shoes. Like,
hat to her shoes?
Yeah, all this. No, not at all. I'm just trying to explain the fact that you had no connection to this. So going through, it just became a film about these superstars, and it was like, okay, well, fine. This isn't a film about these kids. It's about these celebrities.
Yeah, it was come and see The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan in an action film for 2 hours, and that's what you want.
Pretending that they're kids, which is funny, and there were moments that were really heartfelt, actually, and well thought out. And I laughed all the way through. So I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it. I'm just saying that it wasn't a Jumanji film. Like,
usually, right, if I'm thinking about Zafura, which I haven't seen since I was a kid, so it might be terrible. But the heart of that story was that there was two brothers and their sister who had to babysit them while their dad was out, right? And the two brothers didn't really get along with each other, and she was indifferent to the both of them because she's like a moody teenager. And by the end of the film, that relationship has changed. You know, that was that story. I feel that this film just didn't handle that. I mean, I'll take the shy girl, for example, right? She does not change at the end of that film. The only thing that changes is she has a passionate kiss with one of the other characters. That's all that changed. One person that's rapidly changed is the female selfie taker. I don't even remember what their names are.
Bethany.
Of the character's name. No, of course, that they started. Yeah, Bethany. Yeah. Because for halfway through the film, I'm like, are they referring to their characters' names as the characters in the video game, or are they referring to their characters as they are in real life? I got lost for a bit in there. But yeah, Bethany at the start is the most 2D character I've seen in a long time.
Unbelievable.
I've never seen a character written like that in a long time.
It's kind of insulting. Like, I'm sure there are girls like that, but it was kind of saying that, like, any teenager who likes to take selfies of themselves and is pretty and skinny and hot has to be fucking stupid. And it's like, well, no, actually. Like, most teenagers are like that these days. And just because she's a certain way doesn't mean she has to be vapid and horrible, actually. Like, really, really horrible. And looked like she had no friends. And then suddenly she's broken up with her boyfriend, who we never meet.
Yeah. And the friend on the phone that's at the end, I'm like, oh yeah, you. Who are you?
Yeah, like, why do we care? We don't know how close you are to this woman.
I thought for a split second that the friend, right, was the shy girl who had rapidly changed their appearance because she was now confident. I was almost like, okay, so they've really gone for the fact that they've all changed. But it wasn't. It was the throwaway character she had a FaceTime call with on a Sony phone, by the way. Oh, that was another point.
I think as well, like with the sorry, did I cut you off?
Right. At the second scene after we see the other kid disappear in 1996, we see him disappear. We'll get to that later on. He disappears. We then cut to our main characters right now, and we see our lead guy Spencer playing Street Fighter 5. Right? But we don't just see that. We see a pan shot of his room. And, right, as a video game guy, you don't just like one console's exclusive games, right? So the guy's got posters for Uncharted and Shadow of the Colossus, right? That I saw. There are probably other ones, but they are all Sony-owned products. I mean, so you're telling me that he doesn't like Mario, he doesn't like Sonic the Hedgehog, he doesn't like any of these Halo, he doesn't like Call of Duty, you know, all these other games that people play. This guy's like, no, I'm just a Sony fanboy. And I know there are Sony fanboys, but they do acknowledge the existence of other video game characters, right? So right off the bat, I was getting annoyed. I'm like, right, so this kid just plays PlayStation. All right, okay. As long as this isn't a joke in the film that he's only a PlayStation kid, that's fine. And they don't do that, thank Christ. But it was just a ham-fisted way of getting the Sony products in.
Usually Nintendo. Yeah, I never was a Xbox guy because of the old Mac PC rivalry. So, but yeah, Nintendo, obviously, and once I chose my side, which was PlayStation, also had always like Nintendo Entertainment Systems.
I've owned both. At one point I had a PS3, an Xbox 360, and a Wii. I owned all three. I'm now on Xbox, but that's because I can't afford to have a PS4. If I could, I would have one, and I would buy multiple games. I mean, I want to play Uncharted and the Crash Bandicoot series and the Spyro remaster when it comes out. You know, there are things that I enjoy, I'm not just sitting there. I won't ever play Sly Raccoon because it's a PlayStation exclusive, you know?
Yeah, no, obviously, no. Sometimes there is another boycott that I had was because of Assassin's Creed, which was one of the games that I played the most. And when you had to have a PS4 to play Unity, that got me really annoyed.
Was that not just because they'd done France? And you're like, oh, no, I'm not playing a France game. I'm not having my own culture butchered.
No. It was really just, and I still don't own one. My brother does, but I don't. So no, that was really me being annoyed by the Unity being taken hostage kind of situation.
Well, you guys I was the same. I couldn't afford that, so I played the other game that came out that year. Anyway, so that was an annoying thing for me about it. But it just comes down to a point that you don't really care about the kids at all, really.
You're not given enough time. It just kind of was like, oh, well, Dwayne Johnson is our producer, so we have to give him as much screen time as possible. And it was just, I don't know, it was just like, maybe because we know about films and cinema so much that we can kind of see through all of this stuff. But like, it just seemed so 2D. Like every character was 2D. Everything was like, oh, you're either this or you're that. And if you're that, then you want to be the other person. And if you're that, you want to be the other person. And we're just going to learn from each other.
Well, for example, me and you, all three of us actually enjoy, good steak, but we also have, from time to time, go and have a burger at, like, say, Five Guys or something, which is the different part of the league. And just because you've had something expensive doesn't mean you can't enjoy something that's less. And that totally applies to cinema. I mean, you can love, look at The Room, people say it's the worst film ever made. You get so much enjoyment from that, equally to watching, let's say, all of the Lord of the Rings extended, right? There are different calibers to how you look at it. But at the same level, if you eat something if you know you're going to Burger King or something and you eat something that's bad, it's still bad. And it's not because you prefer the steak. It's because what this isn't as good as what it could be.
Yeah, because it's like basically saying, because this is, as Yann beautifully put, it's mindless entertainment. That doesn't mean that your characterization is like more than 80% less than if you were doing Baby Driver. That's crazy to me.
I think that's the point I was trying to make with the Baby Driver. And Jan's kind of highlighted it far better by going mindless versus mindful. That's probably a much better way than me going like, I can't believe it. Talking about target audiences, I'm like, Adam, you don't know what the target audience. You're not the marketing team for this, mate.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. The characterization of this film was just poor and boring, and it was just like, I don't know, it felt like one of those films that no one really was invested in. So
I mean, also we've not, in the Mark Fisher book about how to write about theater, right? He talks about how we should see, and we talked about that a few times, what the goal of the filmmakers was and if they achieved it. And it's going to come back to for The Shape of Water, because I have a few frictions on that specific thing, Mark Fisher thing, but we have Baby Driver. We went to see some outside stuff before we recorded. We just watched this movie without knowing what they really wanted to achieve, how they worked, So yeah, it looks like mindless entertainment, and it is, because it's just designed to keep your eyes glued to the screen as much as possible.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I think there's this thing as well, like, oh, because I laughed, I enjoyed it, and that means that it's a good film. And I think that's a real problem in media, and acting. I mean, actually, in our industries, it's so bad that you think that a film is good because you enjoyed it at the time and you laughed. Like, that's because I did, but I could never say that this film was a good film, because it wasn't. It's
also because Jann's point there is Mark Fisher talks about is it Sophocles that talks about the three questions?
Yes.
Which is I can't remember them off the top of my head, but the three empirical questions that you ask yourself, like, why is it made? Who's it for you? No, those ones. That would be good to find, actually, the three imperatives.
We have the book there, but
Anouk will find it, and we can Google it. But basically what I'm saying is that a lot of stuff is lies. Marketing and media coverage, a lot of the time, is lies. I mean, I can tell you right now, it's like, why did you think to bring back Jumanji after so many years? Oh, we really wanted to, bring back a story that was important to us as kids. Nah, bollocks. It's the same excuse you did with Ghostbusters, right? You're telling me you brought this back because, there's nostalgia right now is huge. I saw a great art video essay by who used to be the Nostalgia Chick after the whole debacle that has come out about Channel Awesome. If you're interested in that aspect of YouTube when there was networks and so forth,
there's so many drama that I don't keep up with.
It's not really a drama. It's more that people have come out and said how they were treated because of part of this big company that was quite a big thing back in the day in early YouTube. So most people will know if you're a YouTube fanatic, but if you're interested about seeing how networks used to work on YouTube, you'll find the document if you just Google or YouTube Channel Awesome right now. There's thousands of people coming. Anyway, her real name and who she goes by now is Lindsay Ellis, and she does amazing stuff on her channel. Last weekend, our Hobbit Part 2 thing was number 3 on trending. And that's what got me into her stuff, and I went back and found this. Anyway, she does this article about Stranger Things and it talks about the 30-year cycle, which is essentially that every 30 years you throw back to 30 years before, because that's usually when the makers were kids and they look nostalgically at their past. I think that's kind of what this is. They're just going, right, what was popular 30 years ago? Ghostbusters, Jumanji, right, we'll make that. What's popular now? Emojis, right, we'll make that.
So, to get a throwback to one of an earlier episode. So I went to see this one with a car, so I didn't pay for it. I actually purchased the iTunes thingy. So, Anouk, you can't say it's a good movie, but if you had paid £10 to go see Jumanji, what would be your state of mind?
I wish I'd paid $3.
Yeah, I wouldn't be very happy if I had to pay £10 to see that. But I did enjoy it, so I'd probably walk out kind of smiling. So I think for what it was good, but I wouldn't want to congratulate the director type thing. It's one of those weird mind spaces where you're like, yeah, okay, I enjoyed it, but like,
it doesn't bring the questions you want to ask if you meet the guy one day, or
no, it's not like, I'd much rather have been watching Raging Bull, to be fair.
Raging Bill. Raging Bill.
And when you got to,
I'm raging.
Yeah, you're going to the restaurant. It's too expensive. The bill is just
Raging
like
Bill. Or somebody's. I can't believe you fucked up that Shakespeare. I'm Raging Bill.
Shut up.
Sorry. Yeah. We talked, I had a great point and I've forgotten about it because of Raging Bill. Oh no, what was it? Yeah, it's very much cookie cutter cinema. Like, here you go. You know what it is.
It's like a production line.
Yeah. Like
it's kind of like McDonald's. Like
formula.
Yeah, I mean, that's what even thrown back to the start of this episode when I read out that list of films. Like, there's some great films in there, but there's some nightmare shit. It's just stuff that they're putting out because they're a company. They have to turn a profit,
It's a bit weird to try to understand now then why this specific one, because they tried other nostalgia thing before which didn't work, but this one did.
We'll get to Ghostbusters one day.
Yeah. But this one did, as we said in the intro, early on in the episode, it's the most successful Sony ever. Yeah. So, what happened?
People definitely have an affinity for Robin Williams because Robin Williams is the big selling point of Jumanji 1. If you say Jumanji to somebody, they'll go Robin Williams. They won't say it's a board game and the jungle. They'll say Robin Williams because it's a Robin Williams film. And sadly, Robin Williams is no longer with us. Yeah. So there is a big nostalgia on remembering Robin Williams. And the film did a nice job of referencing Robin Williams without being
Alan Parrish.
Yeah. I even thought that the Nick Jonas character was going to be Alan Parrish. Just the game had adapted itself,
Oh, like younger Alan Parrish. Yeah.
Yeah. But no. But that would have been nice as well. It wasn't forced in there. It was just subtle and it was nice. As opposed to, throwing everything out with the bathwater at other points in this film. Just like, and my favourite bit for Anouk is when the motorcycles turn up and she's like, where did they come from?
Yeah, it was a bit odd. Like, why are we doing motorcycles now? And we kind of had a joke before we started this podcast that, this episode, that we had all these writers and they were probably just like, okay, you have that stay that level, and then I'm going to have that level. And, you know, I know that John loves his motorcycles, so he's going to have to bring those out. Yeah, I want like 10 motorcycles coming over the hill. I love that idea, man.
Just the intern that's sitting in just rolls up in their Harley Davidson jacket. He goes, Chris, what do you think about motorcycles? In the jungle? It's not going to work, is it? It's a video game. It'll work. I honestly think there's a line that if in the writer's room they said, it's a video game, it'll work, that's dangerous, because I play a lot of video games, man, and you got to call out some bullshit. I mean, watch the honest trailers for this if you haven't already seen it. They do a great job. They talk about NPCs, which are non-playable characters, which are essentially like shop merchants and people in the world that aren't you. And they highlighted in their honest trailers the fact that if this really was a video game, you wouldn't see the NPCs talking to the villain, because you can only see cutscenes from your perspective.
I think that would be, it was funny, but I think there was a point where it just got annoying, where, you know, one of the characters would talk to someone in the game and then they would just repeat the same thing over and over. And I know video games are like that. Like, you just like, oh, talk to, like, how Adam's
Hello,
now,
traveler. Would you like to peruse my wares?
Yeah, like you're playing Batman at the moment, and it's like every time you talk to a certain person, they'll say exactly the same thing, and you have the same conversation.
It's the bat.
In which film are you playing Batman? You're playing Batman in which film?
That'd be amazing.
Spoiler: I'm actually going to be playing Nightwing in hopefully the new adaptation of Nightwing.
Nightwing.
Anouk really fancies Nightwing.
I do.
It's like, oh, hey babe. I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
It's like, it's my boyfriend.
I really want to make a Nightwing film now, so I go on the press tour and it's like, so why did you want to do Nightwing? I'm like, yeah, I really felt nostalgic for it. I'm like, no, my girlfriend at age 25 fancied Nightwing, so I went, you know what, it may as well be me in the suit.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's like when Richard Harris, who was the very first Dumbledore,
Yes.
was asked why he chose this, because his grandchildren were fans of so that's why he chose the.
Why did Patrick Stewart choose Emoji Movie?
Yeah.
Because he liked to have the shit. I don't know.
I've been preparing for this role most of my life, was I think he said at one point.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, it was ironic and haha, very funny, but it's almost like, why? Emoji Movie was so bad. You can be in a child's film.
All right, thank Christ.
And it'd be a good, I just don't know
Take
why.
that out.
No, you can. We will do a hard candy at some point.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but if you do it like, you know, the whole gritty indie thing and you show kind of horrible thing, if there's a reason for it, fine. Like, if you do it intelligently and with respect, fine, I totally get it. Like, show what actually happens in the real world. But I think sometimes you need to understand what type of film you're making, and also understand that even though you are doing something in a video game, some things don't translate.
That's why game films have never really worked.
Yeah, because it doesn't translate. Like
It's different media.
The whole fact that you gave random characters like one line and they had to say it over and over again, and that's funny. Yeah, maybe once, but every time they talk to someone that isn't you, four,
then five later on, yeah.
4 then 5. Like that's crazy to me. I don't know.
The thing that makes NPCs fun in games is you get the relationship with that NPC. If it's a significant character. I mean, we'll take Arkham Knight, which me and you are playing right now. I mean, some of the most fun dialogue in that game is from the thugs. It's because the studio have paid voice actors and written scripts for different aspects. So as you progress through the main story, their conversations change. It's the same actor reading the lines, and it's like 4 actors for playing every thug in the game, and they just change their voice slightly. But they're talking about different things. So it is the same sense of you have the same NPCs saying the same sort of stuff, but it's changed and it's influenced by your actions in the game. So for it to work in Jumanji, you need to have the NPCs reference the things that they've been doing in their adventures. And that's when it would start to work. Like in the bazaar with that kid. If the kid had come up and said, "I can't believe you've escaped those bike riders," something like that, that gives them a bit more depth. It can't just be, Dr. Smouldering, I've been expecting you. Your reputation exceeds you, sir. Like, there's a difference between NPCs and exposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that like major NPCs then, because they're just like random ones. I mean, I've played World of Warcraft for a few years, and I've never read any of the quest thingy. I always accepted everything and just went along with what the guide was telling me to do. So, yeah, the NPCs are... so that's quite interesting fact that I learned a couple of years ago, that you can, if you want, I don't remember in what context, but actually play NPC. Like, they'll give you kind of the keys to the character, and you'll stay all day waiting for people to yes.
Well, okay. Wow, okay.
That'd be fun in like a Telltale game where you have to choose your dialogue and you only have one line of dialogue to repeat.
Maybe it was an April Fool's, but I don't think it was. I can very well see people spending the whole day behind their computer and selling stuff to players.
Well, there are some games you just do the same thing for the whole game over and over again. You know, and they work because they're grounded in what they are, and you enjoy it. Like iPhone games. They're not really games, but you know, I'm playing this one right now that's like, it's called Egg Incorporated, and you just tap a button and hatch chickens and lay eggs. That's it.
Oh, there is.
And you do it over and over and over again.
Isn't there? There was also a very massive one, massively popular one I've seen the other day, Goat Simulator.
Yeah, Goat Simulator, yeah.
So 12 writers for this one. So it was, I think, just like for the filming of The Room.
12 credited writers, yeah.
Yes,
I think there was 4 screenwriters and the story credit for the writer of the book and the main writer of this, like the Chris, I think it's Chris something. You know, they're the main 4, and then there was they credited the original Jumanji writers. Right. As well, because they used that property.
I would have liked to be in the room, just like I would have liked to be in the brainstorming room for The Witness.
Mm-hmm.
The Witness.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Nearly finished that.
How did you first hear about The Witness? Because
really,
All
right. So, listeners, at the moment, if you have an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and Games with Gold, at the moment you can get The Witness. It's a Game for Gold exclusive, but it was actually a PS4, bringing it back to Sony. It was originally a PS4 and PC exclusive, I think. But yeah, it was one of the 3 games. I'm like, all right, I'll just play it, and I started to enjoy it. So that's how I heard about it.
Gives me headaches, that game.
I'm nearly there. It's a game where you solve line puzzles over and over and over again with increasing difficulty.
Yeah, it's intense.
It is intense.
Yeah, you have to push the envelope and look behind the envelope and every corner of the envelope, everywhere.
Yeah.
So
why did you enjoy it so much then, Yann? If me and Anouk are talking about what we found wrong with it, why did you enjoy it so much?
Thank you. I was so sometimes you're biased about things.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Yes, Karen Gillan.
Yeah. She wasn't that great though in this one.
No.
She had good scenes. I mean, when she was being the flirtatious, shy teenager at the brook, I thought that was a good scene with her. She was really good in that.
Yeah, I just think I've seen her do so much better stuff.
That's true as well.
I didn't enjoy it to the point where I will watch it 25 times, but I was content with myself.
The big question, because Anouk said I laughed all the way through it, and I'm thinking, why were we laughing?
I think it was different. Like, I'd never seen something like this before, and I thought the jokes were original, and I don't know, I was just laughing the whole way through. Like, I found it funny.
I mean, they've done like body swapping films before. I mean, we've had
Freaky Friday.
I was even thinking Big.
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
When Tom Hanks becomes a kid.
Zoltar.
Yeah. Which is, I think Big is closer to this one because it's kids in a man's body as opposed to the other way around. You know?
Yes.
Is that right? Did I just butcher what Big is about?
Big is a kid who gets into a Tom Hanks body.
Yeah, so it's the same. Sorry, not the opposite way around. Yeah, it's the same principle as this film, just done in a different way. So yeah, I agree. We don't see it as often, but it has been done, and I just feel that there isn't enough to warrant another visit to this film.
Yeah, I think this might be the first film that I put in a certain category.
Oh,
in there?
In a certain category.
I won't spoil it yet. That's interesting. I'm then arguing an idea. So, can a film be good if it's just meant to be seen once?
No.
I don't know because
Can it be? I don't know. I think that might be true. I mean, there are some films that you'd never watch again, but you have a great time experiencing.
I've said that a few times. Some films that I genuinely convinced and I know with all my heart that they are terrible, but I love with a passion. So it's we are removing pounds of flesh, so and brains and so stuff evolve.
Yeah, and I think also if you're like in a really bad, like if you're like really sluggish and lethargic and you just want to watch some rubbish, like your kind of film love changes. I get that. I mean, because I watch a lot of rubbish TV series, so I can't really talk. Like I've just finished How I Met Your Mother, and it was rubbish.
Oh, that finale.
Yeah, it just ruined the whole thing. But I enjoyed it, and I laughed, not out loud, but I laughed inside. I think that still counts.
There's a great line in the final series of episodes with Matt LeBlanc, where they're in a writer's room and the main writer goes, comedy doesn't have to be funny anymore. It just has to be 30 minutes long. I think that applies to a lot of stuff out these days that's classed as comedy, but it's not like laugh out loud, hilarious. Like Fawlty Towers, for example, which is like the pinnacle of short and sweet but hilarious.
I probably try to go to the dinner experience of that with my.
Oh, yeah, excellent!
They had it at the Fringe, but I saw like a few weeks ago that it's actually a thing in London.
I highly recommend stuff like that. Yeah, it's great.
It also depends on your life experience, because I know that films like I cannot. It's you're being unfair to the filmmakers there, but that's just how life works. I know that I can't. Well, 2 years ago when we trained, Laura did a scene from Perks of Being a Wallflower. And that's kind of stuff I can't watch. Mm-hmm. I couldn't watch 2 years ago. Now probably it would be good today, but...
like kids go, like angsty kids?
No, being a wallflower. Because I was one sometimes, and it was quite distressing at times in my life. And getting to see themes that bring you back to some not so awesome moments in your life. So
I agree. There are certain films that I remember there was a film I watched with an ex-girlfriend once, and I don't think I've watched it since. Or I saw the start of it. It's that is it Note something?
The Notebook?
I don't think it's The Notebook. It's the one. No, it's Dear John, the one where he dies and he leaves her loads of notes.
Okay.
I think I saw the start of that with an ex, and I haven't gone back and finished it because I've A, I don't know it's not for me, and B, I think it might bring back like, oh yeah, I watched this with this person and
that's
stuff like that.
Triggering.
Yeah, triggering.
Yeah, triggering. I that's a very interesting point actually. That sometimes that because I always have this conversation like, oh, why have you not seen that film? It's like, because I have to be in the right mind frame to watch it. And if I'm not, and also I'm worried that if I watch a film and it makes me go back to a dark place, then that's it, for like weeks and weeks. And that's just really sad, because there are certain films that I'm just really worried to watch either again or for the first time. Like, David was talking about, what is it? Irreplaceable? Irreversible. Yeah. Like I'm terrified of watching that, because that's just like any sexual violence makes me nervous, like really, really nervous.
That's you can't. I haven't seen obviously all the movies in the world, but this one is pretty intense.
It's very intense, yeah.
So and
a very good film though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's when it becomes like a weird gray area where it's like, oh, I should see it because it's part of my craft, and I want to see all these films that are actually good and pay respect to the directors and anyone who worked on it. But then it's also like, should I also put my health first?
I read a very interesting part of Mark Cousins' book right now, where he talks about how you see the same scenes in cinema but slightly different. So the example he uses that there's a scene in Taxi Driver where he's staring at like a fizzy drink essentially, and it's reflecting him. And we've seen that shot many times in cinema, way back to like the black and white silent era of films, like a British film in about 1945, like way back then. And also that's where that quote that some people say that the best form of flattery is imitation, like taking something. Or he uses, for example, the opening 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan is sticks in people's minds because the D-Day landings have been done many times in cinema, but Spielberg did it differently. So that's what you do. If you see something that inspires you go, right, what can I do to add to that or make it different? Like, you put my slant on it. And here I'm thinking to this movie, I'm like, has this film been done before? And if it has it done anything different? So is this film different to the sense of Big, where the comedy is in the fact that a kid's in a man in a grown-up's body? Is that do they do anything different with that idea?
I think that there was some interesting acting decisions that some of the actors made, but I don't think it was different. I don't think they pushed barriers at all. I
think they made it different to Jumanji. The original Jumanji. They shifted away from it's not a remake of Jumanji, which was nice.
I even though I would have liked a bit more of Jumanji actually in it.
I agree.
Because I think there's a line of respect that you should probably have when you're making a reboot, like a little kind of nod to the first Jumanji, because this isn't your film. You're like re-adapting something.
I like the fact in Jumanji and Zafira that the cards they take out and it's like what's going to happen to them, and there's like, so for example in Zafira it's like a meteor shower, take cover, and it's like meteors start hitting them. I missed that in this film.
Yeah, exactly.
The stuff they were just like, oh no, let's progress the game.
Yeah, you had the drums, and
that was the thing in this film as opposed to Jumanji. The characters in the film were not in charge of the board game. The game was in charge of them. You know, they weren't controlling it.
Yeah.
They were just a subject of the game happening around them. There was no pause button, essentially. Wherein Jumanji 1, nothing happens until they take the card or start playing the game, you know? Well, that's the key point. That's how Robin Williams' character gets stuck in the game, because his partner runs away.
Yeah, and doesn't play the game for 26 years, so he's stuck in that, because that was the thing that came up. It was like, until the other person rolls, you can't come out of the jungle type thing.
Yeah.
And she was chased out of the thing by bats.
Yeah, I think it was bats, yeah.
I loved the first one. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just having the memories of like watching it, and I thought it was so good, but yeah, I watched it at probably at the right age. Yeah, you know, the more I think about construct this film, I think that's probably why it's quite a dangerous thing to do sometimes. When a film is like this, maybe it's not a good idea to deconstruct it, because you then just relive all of the flaws.
But I think it's important to understand good moments from bad moments. I mean, there are some films that you could take apart and are terrible all the way through, and there are some films that are good films that have bad moments in them, and you highlight the bad parts. You know, you have to give everyone due process. I think that's only fair. But it's like I said earlier, you can't compare a steak to a burger.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that now that I've talked about it for a while, I'm becoming more and more, you know, angry at the film because I'm deconstructing it. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes it's a curse and a blessing to like deconstruct a film, because obviously I think it's important. Otherwise, why would I have a podcast on it? But sometimes you enjoy a film and then you deconstruct it and you're like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it. Like, I wouldn't watch it again because I've deconstructed it.
But I think people do that all the time. They just never talk about it. I guarantee that as soon as you leave a cinema, you start thinking about it, even subconsciously. It'll be there. People do.
Yeah, well, it's also part of the experiment when you're going with friends. If you prefer to go to the movies alone, as I used to do for a long time, it's fine, but it's also part of the experience to actually, when you're out, so what did you think about that?
Yeah, and you discuss this, you're like, oh, do you remember that bit? Yeah, that was great when they did that. And you have an experience and you bond over it. I think that's important to have that conversation about where a film works and doesn't work. There are things in this film that work. It was exciting, and I haven't seen Ready Player One, but this might be the most commercially successful video game-esque movie there's ever been. There hasn't been any other one. Mortal Kombat, certainly not. Street Fighter, certainly not. Super Mario movie, definitely not.
Yeah, I know they do better, and but it's not Hollywood. There are some anime, like Sword Art Online. I don't know if you've ever heard about this one. It's basically pretty much like this character, well, people stuck in a video game, but they are actually genuinely stuck, and they have to get all the levels, and if they die, they're done. Pretty much like actually a Matrix. And this is Sword Art Online. It came to my attention a few years ago, which is quite a feat, so I'm pretty sure it's a huge in people who are into Japanese animation. So yeah, in terms of Hollywood mainstream, yeah, probably this one is a successful one. It's not directly because it was a book originally, right? It was not a video game which became a film.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm not sure it counts.
Yeah, that's why I said video game-esque.
Right. Yeah.
Because Ready Player One's a book, but people would call it a video game movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, anyone?
I enjoyed it. I laughed. You know, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I only had like 2 notes for this one, and they have been done for a while. We can go to the rating.
All right, then. Anouk, Yann, was Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle good, bad, or just plain standard? Anouk?
I don't know. I think this was just plain standard.
Whoa. Okay, let's hear more.
Well, it didn't do anything new. Characterization was totally flawed and not done at all. It was lazy, actually, I would say. I did laugh and I did enjoy it, but I think when we're doing a film podcast, I think you have to respect the fact that there are some movies out there that make you laugh and are enjoyable, but they've been able to make a good film too. I don't think that those things have to be cut out just because you want to make mindless entertainment. I think you can have mindless entertainment, but make a good film. And I think the fact that we're doing mindless entertainment and making it a kind of film is lazy, and I think it's just like production line type McDonald's style fast food way of making films, and it's just it kind of gets a bit annoying after a while, you know. So that's my opinion on. Maybe I'm making this film a bit more of a bigger deal than I mean, maybe it was just a popcorn film. I should just kind of chill, but.
So this one is next to. Oh no, you called. I know we'll have to discuss that at the end. Actually, Yann, what do you think?
I wouldn't be as brutal, but it's in the standard category. Not just plain standard, but I would say towards the high of standard. So it's supposed to be good, bad, or just plain standard. But we had high good, low good, mid good. I would say it's in high up in the standard. With a flair of highly entertaining.
I totally agree with you, Yann. That was perfectly said.
Where do I stand? I'm teetering.
I'm hoping on bad.
Yeah, between bad and just plain standard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually know what the worst category of our film is called, and this isn't there by a long shot.
Insulting.
just plain bad.
Yeah,
is like one of the worst things we could be. Yeah, this is a just plain standard. I mean, this doesn't do anything new. It's still a wheel. We've not tried to reinvent the wheel. Were we going for that? No. I think the biggest nail for this one's coffin is the fact that everything feels like that bit. Do you remember that bit when? Do you remember that bit in the bazaar? Do you remember that bit where they find the game? It's not a complete film to me.
Not connected.
Like what happened with Spider-Man, which we may talk about someday down the line with Homecoming, too many writers has ruined a connective narrative for this film.
Sorry.
No, keep going. You can interject.
I also think it's like if you can make money, people will do it. And they'll do it in as little means as possible because they know they can get away with it. And that's what this film is. It's like, I know how to make a lot of money, and they've made nearly $1 billion on this film, which is absolutely ridiculous worldwide. But if you can make £1 billion and make this kind of movie, and with all these stars and all of this exposure, I mean, do you know what? I would also say yes to doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just McDonald's.
I wouldn't watch this film again, I don't think. and I wouldn't tell anyone else they need to go and see it.
No, I was in the corner watching it it was the second time, so I only mostly listened. But no, I don't think I definitely wouldn't go see it in theaters again.
However, with that saying, it is highly enjoyable in aspects. This might be a film that you enjoy with a certain aspect on life.
Is that like, wasn't there a
nudge, nudge.
A guilty pleasures category, something?
I mean, you can, but this is not a guilty pleasure. This is not.
For me, it's definitely not a guilty pleasure. Yann, is this a guilty pleasure for you? Would you see this again?
No,
because
no. Is this is Karen Gillan a guilty pleasure, or is Jumanji a guilty pleasure?
No,
Get off the fence and judge the film for the people in it, not just because Karen Gillan's in it.
I just said before that it was standard, and I wouldn't see it a second time, so it's not guilty.
Yeah. This one is a get your friends round, have a bevy. You know, if you're like, oh, I've got this film, we can have a drink and watch this mindless film. Yeah, sure, but. Nah, it's just maybe because we are filmmakers and actors that we are, we're not this demographic. We're not just going to the movies because we want to see a film. We're going for something more. We're going for the experience of cinema. And it's perfectly fine because not everyone thinks in our mindsets. And if you think this film was great, that's equally as fantastic as well. And we're probably missing something that you thought was amazing. But for us, I think we have to be true to what our ratings are and who we are as people. And I think that's what makes us us. So, yeah, unanimously, this is the first concrete in the just plain standard category. I was considering that we should have like a majority thing. So like if two of us say it's good and one says it's bad, therefore it gets like in the good category because of the mass majority. But I mean, individual charts work the same way.
I mean, there was the jury number 8 moment in one of the episodes, but I really didn't want and felt like I needed to convince anyone because I was in the same opinion anyway, pretty much, about this one here.
Yeah.
What was the jury number 8 moment again?
When I get you to change for Suburbicon, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
That was a difficult one, but you were right. So
I felt that this Suburbicon needed to be a TV series, or it needed. Yeah, for me, it needed to be a TV series because it was an interesting idea. It just didn't have enough time to do it.
And it's funny also because without even mentioning, but he probably was referencing to an episode of ours or not. Paul mentioned Suburbicon when he came.
Ah,
yeah. He was. I think he was saying that people did not show that much love to it, but it was actually worthy of. It was nice that it was there. So.
Yeah, of course. I enjoyed it, but as what it was presented as, it needed a bit more from me to like highly recommend that film. TV series would have been great.
Yeah, it was an epic that was made to be like the amount of time for a cinema.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, wrong. It needed to be, like a Ben-Hur epic.
Didn't we say it was editing that killed that?
Yeah, but also just time. Like it needed like another hour and a half.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, pander to the mainstream, so.
Anouk, do you want to add any film into the vault?
Oh, God.
Last time was Adam, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me. Chicken Run.
Never-ending Story.
Perfect.
I think that's my film. Yeah, I've read. I want to watch Never-ending Story now. I'm like buzzing.
We'll have to do a vault month going like, right, okay, we've put 4 in the vault. Let's talk about these movies.
Yes, we'll have
2
to
each, 6. Once we've all put 2 in each, we can do a vault month.
Yeah, we'll have to write them down or something and revisit them because, I'm going to have to show you that film. It's perfect.
If only we'd somehow recorded us saying,
"Oh, behave yourself."
Shut up. If only we'd done that.
Yeah, but what I will do though. What I will do though is actually write that in the notes. So it's way easier to get. It's always at the end, so it wouldn't be that difficult in a way. But
find it.
Yeah. So that was us.
That was us.
I just I know I just got a brainwave because they brought out the Orange trailer for The Greatest Showman. Have you not seen it yet?
No, I really need to. As I said, I'm not into musicals, but P.T. Barnum really influenced loads of mentalists and stuff.
You'll enjoy the Honest trailers then.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Barnum statements. Darren Brown works a lot with those. It's like kind of the whole concept of the horoscope. You would get 20 people in, give them predictions or statements about each and every one of them something, and they will all leave the room with, yeah, it was really accurate. It was pretty amazing. And at the end, we'll actually realize it was the Barnum statement, which is really generic stuff that they all had the same, but it was so it could apply to anyone that, so yeah.
I mean, they are always like that, aren't they? Like Virgo, you will work this month. So yes.
An opportunity will present itself.
Yes, in a month, yeah.
There will be a rocky stage in your relationship. A promotion is on the line.
Yeah,
a friend of a friend will come to you in aid. It's all shit like that.
Yeah.
The day they start to be specific would be interesting. Like,
you will get a tax rebate for £412. Eh?
Yes, next week, game on the Xbox Pass will be.
Take an umbrella. It's going to rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, AccuWeather. Do you use AccuWeather?
No, I don't.
That's its impressive app, which it sounds a bit like the weather in Back to the Future. So they tell you exactly when it's going to rain, how long it's going to rain.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Like rain will stop in 45 minutes. So okay.
That would be so good in Scotland.
It works everywhere.
It would be getting tired out in Scotland, going, oh, it's gonna.
Wait,
Today is rain.
Never mind.
Windy. Today the weather will be something. It might be many things.
We don't work in Scotland anymore. It's too confusing.
It's so I started to, it's unrelated now, to watch Love at last.
Oh, the TV series.
Yeah, I love Claudia O'Doherty.
Yeah.
The interview when she does her different characters that she does, like the agreeing Scotsman.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I agree.
This is very cool.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So that was us. We were
Adam,
Anouk,
and Yann. Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.